Hello everyone, today is a little bit of a different video. So I'm appearing in front of the camera because there is a lot of stuff that I'm going to change with this aquarium, and I cannot really do it with the style that I'm doing usually. So, and also I want like you to learn the reason why I'm doing this. Sorry for if the aquarium doesn't look like super clear. Usually it's more clear than that. It's a little bit cloudy. I don't know if you can see me. So yeah, usually it's more clear than that. Hey, what can you do? You know when you go to a friend's house and everything looks like super organized, super clean, and he said like, I'm so sorry for the chaos, like don't mind this, don't mind that. And you're like, what chaos? And you feel like crap. It's clean. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that there is some issue with the thing. There's always some little thing here and there that can happen. Lately, I'm having some trouble with the 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔. The polyps are like a little bit closed. By the way, I didn't update, but for the 𝗧𝗜𝗠𝗘𝗦𝗦 on behind, it completely melted. It just disappeared from where I put it. I can't find it in the tank anymore. So it just vanished. And for the two Gorgonian frag on the top, honestly, I was expecting them to completely melt. And right now, honestly, they kind of look like pogo, you know? A stick and really look like a pogo. Anyways, for the fish, by the way, the two fish, the personatas, they're doing super well. I can't see them at the moment that I'm doing the video, but they are doing super well. And by the way, if I look a little bit tired doing this video, or maybe dizzy or something, it's because I got shot here. I got vaccinated, and she told me just a couple hours ago, and she told me I'm going to feel the secondary effect. I'm going to feel a little bit tired and maybe dizzy tomorrow or the day after. So I'm doing this right now. I was like, you know what? I feel tired every day anyway, So there's some stuff I'm going to change. A lot of hardware that I need like to just tweak or just upgrade a little bit to make my life a little bit easier, and also for the corals. So let me grab the camera. So this light is the Aquatic Life Prime 16 HD, and I'm going to remove that light. I'm tired of it. And I'm gonna explain why I'm tired of it. And I'm gonna replace with this. It's the Radion G5 Pro. And it's been there, here. I have like a bunch of stuff. It's been there like for a year and a half without using it because I was saving it for data. But anyways, back to that. So as you can see, there is a lot of stuff I need to talk about. But we'll go one by one. So we have like for the dosing, here, the dosing pump, I remove the dosing pump, but there's some explanation. You can see all the powder that I'm using, that I'm testing. I haven't tested the bulk reef supply so far, but those three I have tested. And you also the wireless plug, smart plug. You have the Inkbird for the temperature, the probe, and that's pretty much it. But back to the light. Okay, hopefully you can see me. I don't have a lot of space here, so it's really tricky to film. Usually I don't want to show like the chaos over here, and I'm trying to hide everything so it looks like more smooth during the videos. But for the light, so the light itself, honestly, it's a good light. But there's some issue for me, for my aquarium, for my situation, that makes me want to change it. The first reason is this light is a spotlight. So what is happening is the light goes like this. So over here I have less light, and over here I have less light. The problem with that is it casts some shadow, and I need something. And the corals, by the way, they get their energy by photosynthesis. So it's super important, and almost all the corals in that absorb light energy, so it's super important. The problem is like it creates shadows, and sometimes when the corals grow, they create shadow under them, so under the one. And that is causing me some issue. Also, the other thing is the light is at 100% intensity. Like you can see, this is the height. You can see over like this. I don't know how far, I think it's like 30-inch. I'm supposed to see in metric, but anyways, it's not that far away. But the problem is like it's 100% and the fan is always keeping running because it's like super hot and it needs to cool down, and that creates a lot of sound for me for when I want to record something. There's always some noise with the fan. So that is causing me a problem. Of course, obviously you can see there's a dome, and just before, like maybe 2 months ago, I removed one of the like plastic diffuser that was underneath, and because that was causing me some problem with the light, because the light just keep shutting down off, just keep on again, and it just kept on off on off on off because it reached like the maximum temperature. So just before it break, it shut down. It's like a safety thing into the light. And by the way, like you cannot like burn the light. There's like some safety stuff. That's why you pay a little bit more money for this kind of light. When you have a light that you put at 100%, that's an indicator that you don't have enough light. In the ideal world, like I'm gonna say something a little bit weird, but if you can have your light set at maybe like 50% of intensity, that means you have like a good setup of light. So for me, one light like this is not enough. I need more than that. And what's happening, I could honestly like bought maybe another one, but like I need to remove the dome. Like I'm not going to put like 2 dome stuff on top of my aquarium. I prefer one light, and I have this anyways in my apartment since it's been like I haven't used this for like a year and a half. It's about time that I'm doing something with it. So I'm going to use a Radion Pro G5. Hopefully I can like maybe do something with the hanging kit. By the way, I bought like some kind of like hanging kit, but I didn't buy the right thing. I will figure something that look like super clean, hopefully. But what's happening is the dome amplify the vibration and the sound from the fan. So when I'm going to remove the dome, I'm not going to hurt that much of the fan. So I'm crossing my finger for that. All right, so I was about to make the video. The light just turned off just when I press record. So the reason why I'm switching to the Radion G5 Pro is because this light have a bigger diffuser. When the AI Prime 16 HD, see what I told you? It's not voice communication. It's like that, like every 10 minutes, something like that. So that light is a spotlight, where that light is more like a diffuse light. And the more that we go towards like a T5 effect, where the light is spread everywhere equally, the better it is for the corals. You don't want like to create some shadows. And you know, I'm a super huge fan of the 𝗙 light. I love them to death, but there's one problem with that, one specific problem, that it creates some shadows. And when you go with 𝗙, honestly, buy multiple of them, like 2 or 3, to just avoid some of the shadow. So the more light you have, the better for the corals. So with that light, we'll test the PAR, because I have a PAR, but I don't show the PAR data usually, because there's a problem of communication with the audience and the view when you watch the videos, and the people don't interpret correctly the data. And I've seen that more than often with the BRS videos. They put some data, but the people don't consume the data correctly. So there's a problem of communication, and that's something I want to avoid, because it can hurt the corals if you don't understand correctly what the data is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match the PAR that I have from the AI Prime with here, and that should do the job. And I'm very curious to see what is going to be like the intensity of this light versus the air prime. So if I can have like maybe 50 or 60%, this will be ideal. So this is the last time that you see the setup, and honestly I really enjoyed the dome effect that I had, also with like the diffuser that I had, like a plastic diffuser that I had before. It was fantastic. I really loved like the look of it. So I'm just going to cut the video just right there. So see you right after. All right, with the power of editing, here it is. I just put the Radion G5 Pro with all the setup. It took me more than a couple hours. It took me like a full day because I have to remove all the wire, to repaint, to resend, to patch, etc., etc. So it was a little bit longer than I thought. But here it is. I'm happy. It's a little bit like in my face when I look, and also I can't lift my freaking arm for some reason with the vaccine. Jesus Christ, man, it's like a magnet or something. So now I have the G5 Pro. Honestly, it looked like exactly what I was expecting. So let me show you. All right, so here's the setup. As you can see, this is how I mount the Radion G5 Pro on the wall with the hanging kit. You can see like that. And this is not the wire, by the way. It's something that I bought at the store. I went to the store like 3 times to buy different stuff. So yeah, there's like some plate that I bought also at the store because they didn't come with plate, because the RMS hanging kit is not really made for that. It's made for the plate here. But I figured out something. So this is the part that was like missing from the kit. So I just bought basically like a small plate that you can see. There's like just on top of it. It's like white because I've just painted over it. And yeah, so honestly, I'm pretty happy. You can see the mesh. By the way, this is the fiber glass mesh, if I'm correct. Like it's not metal, it's not metallic, it's never rust. I really love it. Sometimes I had some issue with the shadow that it creates like some kind of I'm gonna say like in French, _𝗙. And as you can see, the light is more spread. You can see just on this blend roller that I put, because honestly that light is blinding me when I come here. When I work on my computer. By the way, I had like to remove all the dust because I create a lot of dust. I covered the aquarium for that. I'm very happy also with how the diffuse spread of the light. There's no like super huge caustic effect, which normally I really love, but for making videos, for me, this is an issue. So I think this is like a perfect blend of caustic effect. So I'm really pleased. You can see this is the mesh, and this is a diffuser, so both of them will just like diffuse the light. So I had like to crank up the light at 45, I think, percent, or like 50% intensity overall for like this kind of like distance. So the power that I have over here is around like 100 something. It's very like from 70, 80 to like 100, maybe 110 over here. So it's more like a wider spread par. So I think this is much better for the corals. The light is more spread everywhere. So I think it's gonna be good. Also, like I'm gonna have to adjust the camera because the spectrum is a little bit different. So I tested a little bit the spectrum for that, and to give like a white balance for my camera eventually. Actually, I'm gonna switch. You're gonna see, like, you can see how blue it is, and look. So this is the white balance that I have that I'm going to use for when I'm going to record. So the sand is not blue, but it's more like a white. Now, one of the things that I don't really love right now is because the light is more like towards this way instead of being like super straight. So I'm not quite sure how to fix that issue because I'm an OCD freak and I love my stuff like to be really straight. So it's slightly a bit on an angle. So yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna like do some fix on the top. Stop fixing on the top here. I'm gonna play with the wire, so that should do the trick. The other thing that I got surprised is when I come to my room over here like that, let me tell you, that light is really blasting your eyes. So maybe I'm gonna need like something around here to cover a little bit all over, like maybe like some duct tape or something, I don't know. All right, so a little update on that. So I took one of the paper that I got from where I was working. So I don't have any link for that paper, but I used like a black duct tape, and I used that paper that's white on side and black on the other side, and I cut like maybe something around like 8 centimeters, which like fit perfectly for like how the light will get into the aquarium, so without like cutting the light. And it doesn't blast anymore like that much to my eyes when I go to my room, because the problem that I have is that the light is really high compared to like where I sit. So it's something that I really needed to focus. So it's something like really simple, and the 4 bagnet are just strong enough to hold that weight of the paper and the little duct tape that I use. So now let's move on to the other stuff. So the other thing that I didn't mention is I have like the Inkbird. So basically I connected this. So this is set at 25 degrees Celsius. So every time that is higher, like right now it's like 25.8 degrees Celsius, this will activate. You can see I have like the cooling, and they call it like the heating. So I have my heater connected here, and I have like for the ventilation that is just over here. So this is my ventilation for the evaporation, so it cools down the aquarium. So when that temperature reach above like 25.5, I think there's like a threshold, it will activate the fan. And that's what it's doing right now. But here's the thing, that thing might be not strong enough, or it's just on the limit. So what I'm thinking to do is to just steal that one and just put it over there. And eventually I'm gonna have to figure out something else. And by the way, this is the Radion G5 Blue with the Kessel mount over here, because I really prefer the Kessel mount. And I just connect with like some wire, I'm not quite sure if you can see, some wire, fish wire. It does the job. I bought this for like another Pico aquarium, but for this one I think like during maybe the summer in Montreal, I need something like I'm gonna reach like the 32 degrees Celsius outside. So that's why I think having like 3 fan instead, this will cover this spike of temperature just in case. All right, so this is actually 4 and not 3 like I thought, and it fit perfectly. But this is gonna be an issue for me when I want to remove the filter flask. I could maybe remove also the heater, because I don't need for the next 2 months. I know the temperature will always be more than 25 degrees Celsius anyways. So I could maybe remove this, but honestly, this is going to work. And obviously, I just need to connect the fan like so. So in case of like a really big heat temperature outside, this fan should actually cover this. Oh, and by the way, you don't really need the Inkbird controller heater. It's more of a gadget than anything, because you can run the fan and the heater both at the same time. Obviously, it's a bit of a waste of energy, but you can do without this controller. So this controller just avoid having both of the unit being used at the same time. So here's something that I wanted to upgrade. As you can see, I have a lot of powder, and in the past you have seen me using the Versa pump to dose the alkalinity, at that point also the calcium with the carbo-calcium over here from Tropic Marine. And at some point I stopped to use the Versa pump. Let me explain why. So my goal initially was to have like a more SPS dominant tank, and this is where the Versa pump was supposed to help me. and because I wanted something like more like a super quality and also super precise. And this is why I bought it and I started to use it. At the beginning, honestly, I had some like issue with the calibration, and that gave me a lot of like a untrust issue with that. So, but magically somehow the pump started to calibrate so I don't know why, but it was like really precise, so I could like count on him to dose everything like perfectly. And also like I communicate with Ecotech Marine. They give me like a really good support service once like they knew that I had some trouble. So they give me like another pump. Turn out that pump work now, so I have 2 pumps, but I will come back to that later. So at the beginning, like I said, it was supposed like maybe like to have like a SPS dominant tank, and I was hoping to create like an environment for butter that you can't really see with my yellow clown fish to create like an environment for him to maybe like reproduce or something like that. But it turned out he was like super aggressive on the bird nest and all 𝗙𝗠𝗘𝗦𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗣𝗦 and 𝗙𝗠𝗘𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗣𝗦 and stuff like that. So that caused me like a big issue. So during 6 months, I made a transition from SPS to LPS. And that took me like 6 months. And during that transition that I had, there's a moment where my alkalinity wasn't like dropping that much anymore. The reason why I stopped using the Versa pump is because I was doing water change every week. And when I do water change, it's not like a small like 10% that you can see some people do. Like I'm doing like a full like 50% or something, 40 to 60%, something like that every week. So that reset completely everything each week. If I had any trouble during the week, eventually I was going to reset the parameter of the water anyways. So that wasn't like a big trouble for me. But now, as you can see, the aquarium is getting like super full. And now what's happening is the alkalinity, where I have, let's say, for example, I have like 150 ppm of alkalinity. And by the end of the week, I have like 110 ppm. And that fluctuation for me is starting to be a problem. So I need to get the Versa pump back to the aquarium to just control the alkalinity. And as you can see on the table, I have a lot of powder. So let me explain which one I'm going to use and why I'm going to use it. All right, so here's the 5 powder that I have with me for dosing the alkalinity, but they all contain a ratio of alkalinity to calcium that is a little bit different from each one of the others. So they all have advantage and they all have disadvantage. So depending on the aquarium and depending on the animal, the corals that I put inside, I'm gonna use a different powder for each one of them. So for the Nano, this is the one that I'm going to use, is the Red Sea KH Alkalinity, the Foundation B, super long name, and it's just powder like so. And the reason why I love this one is because the ratio of alkalinity to calcium fit with the needs of my animals. So there are problems that I have with all the other one, except those two. I never tested the bug resupply, but they are there for different reasons. Is the calcium start to raise in my aquarium, and this become a problem. So I just want the alkalinity to increase and not necessarily like the calcium. So the ratio alkalinity to calcium for the Red Sea alkalinity, honestly, for me, it's really good. It also contains strontium and magnesium, if I'm not mistaken. Bug Resupply said basically there's like some of the company that have like brown stuff. Honestly, I don't really care about the brown stuff. I don't know if they talk about this one, but brown doesn't mean bad. It's just like an advertising thing. I wish they explained why brown is bad, but anyways. So here's one of my also favorite. Usually what I do, if I use the Red Sea salt, I'm going to use their supplement because they test their stuff. So if I use the salt from Tropic Marine, I'm gonna use their supplement. So this is a little trick that I do because I know the company tests their stuff with their own stuff. So that's just logic. This one is really weird. Usually when I have a bottle, this one is going to last me like 2 to 3 weeks, something like that. When I use this one, it lasts me like for 1 to 2 months. It's completely insane. The concentration of this powder is just absurd, and I really love this because of this reason. It's really fantastic. The only problem that I have, and the reason why I stopped using this in the Nano, is because the calcium just raised, and it's just not the right ratio for my tank. The one that is maybe like, I think, I haven't tested, but it's like just in the middle of those two, is maybe the soda ash, because there's a ratio of, I think, 1 to 1, if I remember correctly. So it's bicarbonate and carbonate. So I haven't tested honestly this one, but I think it's just in the middle of those two. So I probably test this, but I never test directly new product to the Nano. I always test product with my lab tank. So I'm very curious about this one. And lastly, I have the 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗣𝗦. 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔 is a calcium hydroxide calcium, and it's really particular. There's advantage and disadvantage of this. On paper, it looks incredible. So I'm using the SR Aquarium stick and 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔𝗠𝗣𝗦. The advantage that I have with this one is the alkalinity. Well, it does alkalinity, it does calcium, and also it increases the pH because of the hydroxide. This is on paper fantastic. However, it doesn't mix well into the water. So basically, this lasts me for 2 to 3 weeks, 1 to 2 months. I have no clue, and this lasts me like for 1 day. It's just stupid. So the way you dose 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔 is different from the other powder because it doesn't mix well in water. So the advantage, pH, alkalinity, calcium on paper, it looks super great. Disadvantage, it doesn't mix well, and you have to be careful to not add too much to your aquarium, because there are some people that have their pH like swing to like 8.8, 7, and it just crash basically your tank. So you have to be really careful on how much you dose 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔. So let me show you the way I dose with the bottle. Alright, so this is my lab tank where I test all my stuff before I put in the Nano. I always test all the powder and whatnot. Kezol 2T5 skimmer 20, really love it. So here's the setup. So, and before I start with the bottle, I'm going to show you this. This is what I'm using right now. I haven't tested the 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔 from Bucket Supply. I bought it because I have some trouble with my tank, and I don't know if there's like an impurity inside of it. So this is why I bought the 𝗙.𝗦𝗧𝗔. So, but this is something I'm going to test and see if there's like a difference between those two. So before I show you this bottle, because this bottle is a little bit different than the other one. So this one is the one that I'm going to use for the Nano. And it's really simple. It's just water with a little hole. I'm gonna show you this. All right, so you can see maybe. So just over here, there's a little hole to just make sure that there's no like air pressure that will cause the dosing pump some issue. So this is the one that I'm going to use for the Nano. And now I'm going to show you this. This is the dosing pump that I'm using for this aquarium. And what's happening, I have this bucket filled with fresh water, it's air or DI water. And basically I have the black tube here. The black tube is connected to the dosing pump. Then the other end of the tube is this one, and is basically connected inside of this bottle. So what I'm doing, I'm pumping fresh water over here like this to the bottom. I don't know if you can see with the light, just over here. So you can see there's like the tubing over here, and that tube is really near the end of the bottle. So when I'm pumping the fresh water, It's pumped just on the end, and it makes this powder. And then, because this bottle is a seal, the water, whatever come inside, need to get out. And this is why I have another hole. So this one is basically, I have the water that is coming through the other tube over here, and it's connected to the aquarium. So basically, I'm just pumping fresh water over here. It mixes, then because of the pressure, and by the way, here you can see the tubing is really near the end where there's like the powder. So because it makes like a milky zone over here. So this is more like concentrated. And then after, it just goes to the tank, and that's it. People spend like $300. They spend like crazy amount of money for this, but honestly, this goes like infinite because I'm pumping the water from my bucket, and it's basically like a free stuff. So because the aquaculture is a little bit different, I had to do something that a little bit funky, and I don't know why people don't really show this. It's really unfortunate because it's really cheap. It's not the most. Here's the caveat with that. It doesn't saturate the water or mix the water very well. So if you could just mix the powder of the kalkwasser, this will be way better than this. But this is basically free, honestly. So this is why I like cheap, free, and honestly, it kind of ish work. And by the way, another little tips for this. So when you have like a bottle for dosing and you put like the air tubing like this, you might end up having the tube kinking this way. And honestly, there's a really simple trick. Just use duct tape. Let me show you this. And voila, this is how I do my stuff. Really simple duct tape, and it works. I never have my tubing like kinking, and if ever it does like kinking like this, just remove like 1 or 2 layers of like the duct tape to get the duct tape a little bit more flexible, and that's it. So I think this one is a little bit too thick, but this is really simple to fix. All right, so now I connected the Versa pump with the RDI water mixed with the Red Sea powder. So it's in the bottle, and so it goes here, it goes to the pump, then the pump, it goes to, I don't know if you can see, is the tube over here, and that's it. It's just holding the tube just like so. Okay, so this is the Mobius app from Ecotech Marine. I'm going to the dosing pump. I'm gonna select my dosing pump. I call it the alkalinity pump. And here you can see the dosing schedule. So I dose, I think, during the morning at 8 o'clock, and after at 8 p.m. o'clock, I dose another 1 milliliter. As you can see here, I can choose whatever the amount of milliliters I want to dose. And basically, it does, let's say right now, it does 5 milliliters for 15 minutes. So basically the motor just rotates very slowly. And this way I don't hear the pump at all. So this is a little trick that I do. Eventually, I'm going to dose more than just like 1 milliliters, but I start low. I test the water. If I need to make adjustment, I just make adjustment over here, and I just press 2 instead of 1, and that's pretty much it. So it's really simple. The interface is simple also. They add a lot of feature lately, so I'm really pleased with that. So this is how I control the Versa pump, and it's just over here. I don't have a lot of space. So really simple apps, I really love it. And for the final part, I wanted to talk about this power cable. I know it looked like a big mess right now, but trust me, it's an organized mess. So I bought on Amazon this splitter because sometimes the power plug is like way too big. I cannot plug them close to each other. So I bought this to just split the power cable so I can put everything together, but it's on Amazon. And you can see over here, there's a smart plug. So basically, this controls the 𝗙.𝗔 from inside marine is the light that you see over here. So basically it controls the schedule of this light. And this is the app they use. It's really simple to use. Up, and there we go. So for my schedule, you can see present time. So at 8 o'clock, it wake up, and at 5 o'clock, it just turn off. So for me, it's just a way to control my light. So instead of like off on every day, like I was really tired of this. So I got smart plug. Those smart plug were connected to my lab tank, but recently I bought this like 2 years ago. So this is the 𝗙 Smart Wi-Fi power strip, and this thing honestly is really fantastic. So instead of buying like multiple outlet like this smart plug, you buy one power strip and they all do the same job. What I love about that is it only give you one signal instead of like 6 Wi-Fi signal. So because I have some headache sometimes, honestly this for me was really fantastic, really easy to control. Let me show you the app. So this is the app. It really reacts quickly. Let me show you something. Maybe I have the timer. You can see here. If I want to make sure that the plug come back after 10 minutes, I can do this. Also, you can see like the energy consumption, all this kind of stuff. I was like, yeah, you know what? It's not bad. But to be honest, I don't really use a lot of feature. I only use the schedule. So like this, 8 o'clock every day, it turn on and then it turn off at 9:30. So really cool gadget. Honestly, I recommend. I bought it on Amazon also. I highly recommend. Also, you have like some USB in case that you need. So I really recommend this. So if you watch the whole video, man, thank you so much. I know I talk a lot, but I had so much to show. So thank you for watching the videos. It was like a special edition. And if you like that, just press like. All the link are down below if you want to buy some of the stuff. It's an affiliate link. And thank you so much for watching. I know it was a long video. Thank you. Bye bye.